Oh, 12 minutes past 9. Time to talk high tech. We do it with Paul Brislen, twitter.com/Paul Brislen, head of Two Ands as well. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you very much. First up, let's talk about the iPad 3. Is it being released in New Zealand today?
It is. You're not queuing up. You're not standing somewhere in the rain.
Not a chance.
With Stephen Fry, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's queuing up in Wellington with his adoring fans, except for me. But it launches today, and already there's some consternation because there'll be very few devices on sale in New Zealand. The warehouse has already stolen a march on it all by selling them early, a couple of days ago, but they sold out almost immediately. I think they sent somebody off to the States with a suitcase and came back with a bag full. But they've all gone. So, once they get home, we'll start to see the tweets flying about, hey, this thing's really hot. What the hell's going on? It's 40-odd degrees. It's burning a hole through my legs. And the other problem, of course, will be that it does a variation of 4G, which is the new superfast networks that are being rolled out around the world, that isn't available in New Zealand. The frequency is wrong. So we will end up with iPads that are technically capable of doing 4G speeds, much faster than we have today on the network in New Zealand, but they won't actually ever work on the frequency range that we've got here in New Zealand.
So kind of pointless, really, having that all that speed available there to us, but we just can't use it.
Well, unless we get one of the telcos coming out early with an LTE rollout. LTE is the name of this technology. Long-term evolution is what it's called. If they come out in the next year or so with a different frequency band, then you'll start to see people being able to use their iPads at 4G speeds. But the frequencies we're talking about are much higher up in the frequency range, so not 700 megahertz, but 1800 or higher. And they don't do as well as the 700 megahertz stuff. Real proper LTE needs 700 megahertz or below to run at optimum speeds. So yes, you'll have a gorgeous screen. You'll have a much better processor set up. But 4G, no, not at the moment, I'm afraid.
Okay, let's talk about something called Quickflicks, which has apparently just arrived here in New Zealand. Have you got the exclusive on this?
All right, no, it's arriving real soon, anytime soon now, apparently. So Quickflicks is kind of like Netflix from Australia, and they've announced that they will be coming to New Zealand and then stopped returning anybody's calls. There's a story about it in the Herald today. They sent out a press release yesterday, but I haven't seen that. So, yeah, it's getting to be rather entertaining, and hopefully we'll see a service in the not-too-distant future. What are you doing? Are you just...
There's something for the video viewers there. Anyway, it doesn't really matter if you're listening to the radio. Okay, so is it anything like Netflix? Is it as good as Netflix or what?
It's I haven't seen it in operation, so I don't know. It's a streaming video service with fewer titles, obviously enough, than Netflix, which seems to have the bulk of them these days. But it will be a start of this whole rolling maul of, hey, why don't we make the content available to customers instead of criminalising them? Which I'm all in favour of, because otherwise it all gets a wee bit silly. This idea that we're in the golden age of television, as we've talked about so many times. There's some fantastic television coming out at the moment, and yet if you dare to want to watch it, we'll treat you as a criminal because of our appallingly old-fashioned business model.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talking about old business models, NZ Fact and MPAA, they want to reduce the price of the fee for the notices that are being sent out by ISPs.
That's right. So at the moment, under our new shiny Copyright Act, you get to send notices out via the ISPs to customers if you think somebody's ripped off your intellectual property rights. The problem for the rights holders is that, unlike a lot of countries, New Zealand has a fee for processing of this. The fee is $25 per notice. And unfortunately, the Motion Picture Association and the television rights holders have decided that they won't be paying that money at all. So they have awarded exactly zero notices. They haven't sent out a single one. Now, the problem there is that they're now gone running to the Minister and to the Ministry of Economic Development and said, hey, look, it's not working. It's a complete failure. We've not tried it at all, and it just doesn't work. So we'll be making a big song and dance about, well, if you actually tried it, then, maybe, just maybe, the process would work. It's certainly working for the music guys because they are indeed sending out notices, and I imagine we'll start to see the first ones going to the Copyright Tribunal in the next couple of months, because we're getting up to third notices going out to people who have been downloading music. Interestingly, from what I'm told by the ISPs, there isn't a single New Zealand act that has been pirated, and certainly no notices have been sent about New Zealand music. So I don't know whether that's all the ISPs. I certainly haven't spoken to all of them, but the vast majority of them are only receiving notices about international bans. So, this idea that we're protecting New Zealand music from rapacious pirates might well prove to be completely false as well.
What does it, the fact that they haven't sent out any notices, I haven't received any notices, and I can't say that my behaviour has been,
impinged,
modified.
No.
So what was the point?
Well, that's a very good question. The point is that in order to get any kind of free trade agreement with the US, we have to prove that we're on side in this war against piracy. And we've proven that by enacting a fairly draconian Copyright Act, which says ultimately, although it's not enforceable at the moment, but ultimately, if you keep on doing this, we could cut you off from the internet, whatever that means. So, we've done all of that, but we've also got this $25 fee, which the rights holders say stops them from being able to send out the notices, which says to me that the cost of an infringement is actually less than $25. It's not $15,000. It's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's certainly not the $75 trillion that the RIAA tried to say LimeWire owed late last year. We're talking about $25 per infringement notice being too much for them. So that says to me that the profit they will make from each sale is less than $25, which means that the fine should come down to $25 as well. And so I can see us moving to a world now where we have a reduction in the... somebody's decided to drive a digger down my driveway. We have a reduction in the fees that we charge for these rights holders. So $25 becomes, I don't know, $1.50. But the fine also drops from $15,000 an offence to less than $25 because clearly they're not willing to pay at $25 per fine. So we'll that's the new standard for copyright offences.
Right, okay. Well, if you can hear me there, I just thought we'd finish on a top tech tip for the week. Just announced this week, Google Traffic has come to New Zealand.
Yes.
Meaning that on the Google Maps on your desktop or your mobile phone, where it's actually most useful when you're in the car, you can actually see what roads are busy at the moment, and you can get your turn by turn to take the most optimum route based on traffic flows around, say, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch.
Yeah, which is tremendous. They've had it in the US for about a year or so now, I think. This is the first time they've switched it on for New Zealand, and it's fantastic. I had it play the other day. You could clearly see where there was congestion, where there wasn't. What I need now is the voice to tell me, take this exit, get off here, get on there, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's quite tricky having to look at the device all the time to see where you're at. But it's early steps. This is the way of the future for these things. Instead of having a hard drive of maps that you simply just rely on the road itself and where it's going, this one is all about traffic congestion. So you get a much better picture of how to get around blockages as they're going on. I use an app on my phone called Waze, Wayze.
You still use that?
The manual thing. Yeah, I'm trying it out. I forget most of the time to use it, which is a problem. But I was on a bus the other day. We were sitting in traffic for no apparent reason, so I fired it up, and sure enough, there was a big accident up ahead. There were reports coming in from drivers who were sitting there in traffic saying avoid the area. Had I actually switched it on in time, we might have been able to go around it, but instead we were just sitting there. So it needs to be a proactive app that comes to you rather than you having to go to it, I think.
Indeed. Very, very cool. Well, you can always continue the conversation with Paul on Twitter. twitter.com/Paul Brislen, and and he'll be back same time next week with Tech Talk. Talking tech
having
stuff.
too much fun today. Too much fun. Thank you, your boss.
Cheers, mate. See you next week.
Take care.
Here is the Subways. We don't need